BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my friends out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege, nay, the honor of serving as the host of the BlackUSA.news morning show.
Today, I'm happy when I get to talk about stuff like Breakcoin. Breakcoin is an organization that takes your donations and puts the value toward the bread coins that they mint. They mint these coins themselves. They have total control over its inventory. Those coins are distributed among an existing network of individuals who already work with the community, who already know who the people are who are in need of help and services and assistance. And what they do is they give these people the coins, and they can go to the participating restaurants and caterers, and they can get their food, and nobody knows why. A lot of times we require people to look homeless enough or to seem like they are in need before we feel the need to help them. That is not the way that it should be. And I am really grateful that we get to partner with an organization that allows people, or actually not just allows them, but really wants them to maintain their dignity as they are navigating through spaces. 3 months and National Stop Smoking Day. Smoking actually has a very significant and negative impact on the Black community. So if you know somebody who smokes, or if you smoke, really give consideration to quitting today, or at least toning it down. You know, sometimes let's start with progress instead of perfection. All right. And being a resident of Maryland, I would be highly remiss if I did not say big ups to National Crab Day. I am not a partaker, as I have shellfish allergies and will be dead. Don't. I feel like I shouldn't have told you all that. Hold on, let me see. I got to think of something. Give me a second. Because that might be like I'm asking for an assassination attempt. That you all know what else is going on. My technology went off again. You know how things go. So we almost had like a series of shows without technology difficulties. You know how like when you work in a factory, they have how many days without accident. So we was up to like what, 3 or 4 days, and now we back here. So but it was a good try. Like, we've gotten further, right? So now we're going to be in with, you know, our next target, 6 days, no tech issues. Or maybe just another show, no tech issues. But we already in tech issues, so I'm gonna stop talking about that, because it's gonna put this on the list for my therapist for the next week. It's one of those things, like the anxiety and stuff. Like, oh no, I made a mistake. Okay. I got to say a big shout out to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan. So actually what you all don't know is that he's exceptionally helpful. Like, you saw that little breathing exercise I did just now to calm myself. He helped me with that. He spent his entire career working with mentally and emotionally disturbed children. Wait a minute. I don't know if that's a flex. Well, no, it actually does fit, because, you know, therapy meds and stuff, but it's okay. It's okay. Yesterday, we had an opportunity to talk to Jennifer Hubbard about what it's like to be a Black woman. And that was an incredible conversation. And she shared what it felt like to not often have the support of others. And she talked about what it was like to not have a strong male role model in her life, and how she believes that it kind of led her to some dating challenges and poor marital choices. And so it was a really great conversation. And if you didn't get a chance to check it out, please go back through and treat yourself. It is part of our month of Black women. And today we are going to continue that. I have an opportunity to bring to you all one of the dope women I know. I told y'all, I know dope women, don't I? I do. It's amazing. I like to believe it's because I'm a dope dude and they like, oh, we want to hang with a dope dude. Or it could just be happenstance. I don't know. I'm going to follow the story in my head that makes me feel the best, though. I'm just going to tell you that. I have a Black woman here with me. One of my favorites. We got some time in the game, but we're not going to talk about how much time in the game we got, because, you know, I'll put it this way. I've earned all of my grades. So that's it. Lillet Williams. Lillet, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And I got my share of grades too. So.
So I have to make sure I read my show notes because Crazy Horse is giving me some real productive feedback. So one of the things is, just, especially when I know a guest, I tend to jump in and just start talking like everybody else has known us for X number of years. So I'm going to not do that this time. I'm going to be a good show host, a professional show host at this point, and I'm going to give you the floor because I got to make sure my tech is right. Okay, there we go. There you go. Give you the floor and tell the people a little bit about you. Introduce yourself.
My name is Lillet Williams. I am a Black woman born and raised in DC, currently living in Maryland. Educated here and lived here in Maryland my entire most of my childhood and adult life. Working, climbing the corporate ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son.
Mm-hmm.
He's now 20 years old, so I've raised I've raised a Black man successfully in these streets here. Not that we were in the streets or in the hood, but definitely the suburban mom did not have the minivan or anything, but was definitely the suburban mom going to every sport and activity under the sun with him. And that's kind of me in a nutshell, sorority girl, and doing what I try to do.
Okay. So I'm going to start you off the way that we've started off this entire series, okay? Imagine an alien comes to Earth. Like they've seen all these rockets and satellites going up and they're like, hey, what's happening down here? And so they come on, they see all these different type of people. And one of the groups they realize is this group called the Black woman. And they choose you. So Lillet Williams, come here. Help us understand or describe what it's like to be a Black woman. What would you tell the aliens? So assuming that, we could translate from the ones and zeros. That's what I'm assuming.
Honestly, it depends on where you are.
Okay. Talk about that.
Because the whole geographic and regional cultures of everything is different for Black women. There's a universal understanding of certain things, but it still is different. Growing up in DC, and I know you know this, we both had our formative years in Baltimore. Just a 30-mile difference is a whole different world. From even when it comes down to the basics of hair.
Okay.
The braids are different. The weaves are different. The naturals are different. Back in the 80s and 90s, the music was vastly different.
Yeah.
And the two did not mix very well, and it caused problems. And as a Black woman or a Black girl, it was like, you got to pick a side. You can't always be in the middle or try to mesh both worlds successfully. It was this or that. Okay.
So the regional, hey, that's interesting. No one has said that yet, but there's the regional differences, but as you say it makes perfect sense. I know for me, it was different just because like I was cool with go-go growing up, but it wasn't like my thing. But when I came to Baltimore, like I couldn't understand house, and that just really confused me. And so then I had to anchor, and then they were like, "Oh, you from PG? You have to listen to it." So it's just like, okay,
right. Or the opposite with me. I lived and breathed and loved go-go, but when I came to Baltimore, I could rock with house, and it was almost sacrilege. It was like, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
How dare you like both?
And one of the things that happened for me, I think, was the fact that is the closer I became to Baltimore, the more I started to like the music. But again, it brings into consideration what you're talking about, the regional differences. Now, I noticed in your description and your introduction of self, you talked, you kind of followed it all up with you being part of a sorority. Yes. That was by the way, I am. That is not necessarily the way that I understand your sorority life. It seems to be a little bit more important, not necessarily up there with like your son. However, but in my experience with you in the years, it doesn't just kind of pull up the end.
So could you talk a little bit more about your sorority life or that type? Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's become a habit in the integrated spaces that I talk about, that I don't lead with that, because it's like, but you're an adult. Why are you still talking about sorority life? That was back in college. But I am a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And as a historically Black Greek organization, it is a lifetime commitment.
Mhm.
I am actually very active. I'm currently my chapter president, and it is a way of life. It is so much so, yes, my son, like when I say, hey, I'm going to, we're going to go hang out with your aunties, he'll ask, aunties or Zeta aunties? He knows the difference.
Right.
He absolutely understands the difference. And my niece is a member of my sorority. One of my sisters is a member of a different sorority. My mother was, my aunts were, it is a level of prestige in a Black woman's life and a rite of passage to go to college, join your, referenced sorority, and be active and make a difference and be with like-minded other Black women to help each other pursue life.
Okay.
Like, it's not even it is about community service based and learning, but it's also literally a way of life. It is our support system with each other.
So what do you say to people who may not have had that experience and look at it more as kind of this cliquish way to keep people out, and instead of, I know that especially you and some other women I know is that you all are really big on service, but for me, you'd have been big on service anyway. I'm not going to put that on Zeta. Yeah, that you found your way to deliver through Zeta. So, but that's so for some other people, they don't even see that side of it. It seems like a lot of it is like, oh, it's a way to screen us out because I didn't, or because you got to know somebody, and all of these myths and things like that. Talk a little bit about how what your experience is, because you have so many connections. This is a way of life for you intergenerationally at this point. So you can provide a perspective that maybe somebody who's never had that experience may be able to learn from.
Again, it comes almost down to regionality, because that was not the experience I had from the outside looking in. Growing up, I was not even aware that my mother was in a sorority. I knew my sister was. And I was probably a preteen when she pledged. I just thought she was being obnoxious. Because it was just like every day she wore her colors, she wore this. And of course, as the little sister, I get tagged along and brought to all these other things. And I was just like, I don't know what, I don't understand. This makes no sense. So going to college, I was like, oh no, I don't want to be involved in that at all. But she was like so excited. She showed up on campus first day with me. She told everybody, this is my little sister. This is my little sister.
I remember.
Stop it. And
the pre-college program, right? What is it? God, wow, it's been a while. I can't even remember the name of the program.
BSRT, Black Student Recruitment Team.
There you go. Yep. Wow. Okay. So okay, you passed the I don't have Alzheimer's test, so you don't even got to worry about it. Like, you pull BSRT out.
Yes. I was about to say Nesby, but I was like, no, that's the other one.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
But no, it was her who kind of was like, let me just really see what it's really about. Because she really was like, of course, I would love for you to join my sorority. However, it's got to be about you. Yes, look at the big picture. But she really was like, but look at who your chapters are on campus, because that's who you will bond with. That's who you will stay connected with. Granted, you'll meet others throughout your lifetime, but these are the people that you will spend connected time with for the rest of your adult life. And she actually encouraged me to go to all of the interest meetings or rushes or whatever they were trying to call them at the time. And for me, Zeta was the one. He was just like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, you want to come to the interest meeting? That's fine, but you don't have to. We can just hang out and be cool and be friends anyway." It didn't matter whether I was interested in the sorority or not. They were just like, "What's up? How you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And that really spoke to me. And I make it a point to continue that to this day, almost 30 years in that it doesn't matter, because guess what? Oh, you want to come with us to our service project? By all means, come on. You want to hang out with us at the party? Fine, come on. You can't get in this line with us, but we can hang out. Not a problem. So it was the genuine sisterhood and sisterly love that did it for me. And it was like, I was actually friends with my line sisters before we became line sisters.
Oh, wow.
So it was effortless for us. All of my line sisters.
I know all of your line sisters.
Right. And like Nicole and I, like, we were already friends.
Big up to Nicole. Big up to Nicole Harbin.
And neither one of us knew the other was interested in Zeta at all. So it was like, oh, hey. So it was genuine, and it was warm, and it wasn't calculated, and it wasn't like, oh, well, you can't hang with us. You can't sit with us at the cafeteria table because you're interested or you're whatever. Like, yeah, come on. Right. Oh, you're taking this class? Here, this is how you deal with this teacher. It was very just Black woman helping Black woman.
And that is a really big deal.
It is.
Because it's hard out here just in general. And for Black women, you know, in most areas, like, there are already limitations put against you, you know, like same qualifications that they try to make you meet when it isn't necessary for anyone else. And so can you talk a little bit more about how you have the sense of, well, I'm sorry, I'm all excited about my questions, but the first could it be a similar experience in reverse for somebody? So let's say I went to a college and this sorority I saw was trashed, all the members were trashed, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe in another chapter or in another region, it wouldn't necessarily have that same impact.
Absolutely. Okay. And absolutely. Because again, like I said, my sister was very, very honest and upfront in that if she had been me on our campus at the time, based on what she saw on freshman move-in day, she was like, no, I wouldn't have been interested in my sorority either. And that's why I'm not saying what it is. But
understand.
She was like, so I understand. Like, of course she did her ribbing or whatever when I came home. And said, guess what? I made line. And she was like, ugh. But it kind of made me double down simply because I remember how extra she was. And I was like, but this is genuinely what I want to do. And that was when I found out about my mom and my aunt or whatever, because they literally were like, we wanted you to choose what you wanted to choose. And I was like, but I would have looked at it differently had I known. They were like, we want you to be you. But if it had not been that way and I was pushed away, or it was just like, it doubled down my stereotype of what I thought everybody was obnoxious, I wouldn't have the connections and the friendships and sisterhood that I have now. And again, I made sure that I continued to show that to my niece. I won. And she perpetuates that, and all of her closest friends are her line sisters and her chapter sorors. And like, you find your space, you find your tribe, you find your people whether it's in undergrad or not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, because sometimes it's not you're like, ooh, you're turned off, this is not it. But then if something about it caught your attention and caught your eye, and later on you find out, it's like, oh, I had no idea. So some of those conversations, and I know, especially being in a graduate chapter, is like, I had no idea you could still join,
Right.
as an adult. Like, yes, girl, come on. What
Wait, let me throw in something real quick. When we joined, we were adults too. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I was a dumb adult, but I was an adult. Okay.
But we made good choices.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'll speak for myself. In at least one vein, I have made a really great choice. Now, there's a lot of other veins that was hanging around there that you know some of them. So we're gonna change the subject real quick. So, as you're talking about your sorority life, and it sounds like it is a very personal richness for you. But let's talk practicality. For a lot of people, it's like, I got family, I got sisters, I got friends. Why would I join a sorority? Is it that cool? That's good for you. You don't need it, or is there some other value?
It is a different value. It is. So I was that one. I got 4 sisters.
Yeah.
What why?
And all of them older.
All of them are older. I'm the youngest, but I did have a different experience. Technically, they're my half sisters.
That's right.
But sisters nonetheless, in that we fussed, we argued, but I did not grow up in the same household with them. So I don't necessarily feel like I missed out on having siblings per se.
Okay.
But it wasn't about that. It was about it was about friendship. It wasn't about paid friendships. Because like I said, I was actually friends with all of my line sisters prior to us joining the organization. It was about, this is how we're coming together to do the things that we all want to do as adults. It was like, okay, this is like a maturing process, almost like a rite of passage, because I guess you could say, especially at that point in the late 80s, early 90s, we all saw School Days. We all thought it was what you were supposed to do. And that's, on the one hand, that's the good thing. We were all kind of raised in that you're going to college. It never occurred to most of us to not go to college. And for us, that was a part of college, between School Days and a different world. This is what life is supposed to be. This is what you do as a passage to Black adulthood. Because look at all of the adults and the heroes in our lives, and you find out, oh, they were in this organization, they were in that, they were in this, they were in that. This is what we were all taught and raised to be and to strive for. So it didn't occur to me to not go to college. It didn't occur to me, other than I didn't want to be obnoxious and extra, but it was like, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to enrich our lives and do for others so that we can be in a position to help our kids and those who come behind us. That's what you're supposed to do.
And so being a Zeta was kind of your way to ensure that you kind of had the resources and support to get those things done.
Right, exactly.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about, again, some more of this practicality, because, you know, you my sorority expert of the month so far. So we're going to, I'll call your credentials out in front of everybody. Dare me. Don't forget, I did your resume once. Stop playing. But so let's talk again, the practicality of it. How has being a Zeta impacted, influenced, or participated in your life?
It has enhanced my leadership. It has toned me down in a sense. So like right now, as chapter president and conducting meetings, you're supposed to be neutral. I can be very passionate about the things that I believe in, but I've got to be in such a position that I have to hear and navigate and understand both sides, regardless of my personal feelings about something, and help the overall body, the chapter, to come to a dignified solution.
Right.
And it's exposed me even further to, now I'm really about to show my nerd colors now, parliamentary procedure.
Woo!
And I don't know if you know this part yet. I am actually a member of the National Association of Parliamentarians.
No way! Big ups, high five from across the Maryland, the state. High five, yeah. Congratulations, y'all.
Thank you. And I helped charter a new unit or chapter, and I'm actually the treasurer of the unit. And I work for a nonprofit, and we have a board. And so I have now become the resident parliamentarian and helping the board understand. And it helps me in my job. It has exposed me to other things. Even in mom world, I was the president of my son's Music Boosters, which is a nonprofit organization. And we had to raise money, and we had to do the bylaws, and we had to navigate monies and send the kids to Florida to perform. Like, it has helped me take leadership and making sure to navigate these spaces, not just for myself, but for my kid and my family, helping to understand, to read legal documents and not always having to call you, knowing what it is that I'm reading and understanding and knowing how to navigate and knowing who to vote for the school board seats and things of that nature, and following the processes and procedures and explaining it to my son. It has exposed me to so many different things. And it's funny because some of the things that I've learned and been exposed to just as a result of being a Zeta reminded me of some of the things that I did in high school or middle school, because it was like, oh, that's what that was. We were taught that, we learned that, and making sure that, okay, now that I remember, I did this in the 11th grade, making sure that my son did that in the 11th grade and took it further. So
talk a little bit about, because you brought up this idea of it having an impact on your parenting style and your parenting resources. But honestly, a lot of people would have never put those together because you have a whole son. Like, it's a boy one, not a girl one. Like, right. So you're even saying that it's not just about the perpetuation of the legacy. Like, there are benefits for the whole family with one member being part of the organization. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's part of the conversation that a lot of people who are not in organizations don't get.
So it gave me access to, we have youth auxiliaries, and we are a constitutionally bound organization with Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Big up to the Phi Beta Sigma.
And while I was trying my darndest to get him, he wasn't interested because he just was like, mommy is too much with it. I wanted to get him involved in their youth group. I wanted to get my niece involved with Zeta's youth groups. And even though he wasn't, I'd still take him with me. And everybody knew, oh, that's a little man. How's nephew doing? And, oh, we got this program. And I would get emails of various camps and workshops or scholarships or whatever, simply by virtue of, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're Greek brothers or Greek sisters. And I know you have a kid. Here's some help. Do you need a babysitter? I got you. You want to go to so-and-so? I got you. We having drop the kids off. I've babysat some kids too that I just met that night. But by virtue of the relationship that I have with their mom or dad or whomever, I'm auntie.
And so that type of relationship, you talk about having access to this type of information and this type of engagement, but I also want to make sure that people understand it's not we don't want anybody else to have it. It's that because we're connected, it's top of mind. I know Lillet. I know what Lillet needs. Like, and so I just want to I just want to show the difference. So we got our time knowing each other can be measured in decades. So we're not going to count them, but we took that much time to establish our relationship and our engagement, our friendship over that kind of time. Whereas there's somebody else, because they are in the organization and we've all agreed to a certain caliber of behavior, a certain camaraderie. There are certain rules that I know that I can count on you and you can count on me. This is part of our engagement. You don't need a bunch of decades in to create a relationship. Everybody else who created it has given you the foundation to have it. Is that
exactly? Okay. And then, because perfect example, someone who's not even in the organization, a member, a Sigma brother of mine, who I did know personally. We've met in person because, you know, this age of I know you, I ain't never met you. But we've met in person. He hit me up and said, "Hey, Lillet, I need a huge favor. A friend of mine is in town and is stranded, and I need her to be someplace that I know someone is safe and has her back. You got me." I got you. I went and got her. She hung out with me for like a week. On the strength of, I know him, and he has a friend who he needed to know that they were safe. Got stranded in the DC area, and he called me.
And one of the other things I want to make sure that people understand is that it is not just the fact that he happened to be intake in an organization. It really comes back to the fact that there are these mutuality of rules. There is, because you know, if he is willing to call you and to ask you for that favor, you know, because of the mutuality of the environment, that he's already screened that person, that you are going to be safe.
Exactly. Because there's that level of expectation, that level of understanding. Lillet, you got her, I got you.
Right.
Can we cool? I appreciate you. He was like, I'll do it. I'm like, on the strength of the fact that it's you, and I had a friendship with him. We met as brother and sister, and then we got to know each other. And it was legitimately on the strength of, we understand what this means, what this bond means, what this membership, what this sister and brotherhood means to each of us. And therefore, someone that you trust enough to send my way, and I will trust enough to take care of them.
That is what it is.
Right.
So as we are thinking about, so somebody who's not in an organization, and they are looking to try to figure out if that's even something for them, because, you know, there's the Mason people, and then all of them look the same, except you all have what color that somebody else doesn't. Like, is this like the Green Lantern Corps or like what? So it just all seems weird and whatever. What, aside from this connectivity that you talk about, are there any other, like, this money, can somebody make some money, get new jobs or something like that? And because I'm trying to be polite about it and subtle, but you know I don't do subtle. I gave you 2 times for me to be subtle. 2 times, you know, that's 3 more times than I normally get. Okay, it'll be on my show, so I'm trying to be professional, but you ain't letting me. Okay, all right.
So I got an interview on the strength that I had Zeta on my resume.
Wow.
The hiring person was a Kappa. He told me straight out, I didn't even really read your resume. I saw it was in blue ink, because that's how obnoxious I am. I have turned into my sister, just on a different level. My resume is in blue ink. And so it stood out, and he looked, yep, there's Zeta, okay. And he gave me an interview. And he was a Kappa. We don't have that constitutional bond or whatever, but we are all a part of the Divine Nine. And there's that level of understanding of expectation. We are here to work and support each other as Black college educated people. We have a platform that we can help each other or others.
Okay, so you did bring up school days, and now you're talking about helping people as a platform. So we got to go to the scene outside. Was it the Burger King? scene outside the Burger King when the brothers KFC. I knew it had something to do with chicken because I was offended at the time. No, I didn't know it was something to do with chicken. I apologize. Anyway, that conversation about what are you all doing for real people? Like, this is all about you, because I know there have been, I'll speak for myself. I know that I have some brothers that are not the most, the greatest brothers around. A big A5, but you ain't shit. So there are a couple of them. And so some of them, this is who they may have run into, maybe a soror of yours, or had that kind of experience. And the thing is to remember is that these are still real people with real lives on a regular day. And even that moment you catch them may not be representative of not just the organization, but maybe not even of them. So what do you say to somebody who's like, oh, when I was in undergrad, all of them, blah, 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 whatever the sorority is, was like that, or fraternity. Or, when I grew up, Miss what's it called, it was a this or that, and I hated her and she was always mean. What do you say to that? Or do you say anything?
I mean, people are people first and foremost. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that from XYZ member, and maybe they were having a bad day. I don't know. I can't speak for them. Mm-hmm. But for me and mine, I will give them the benefit of the doubt simply by virtue of you're a member. Somebody saw something in you once upon a time. But we all stray. We all are not always perfect in anything that we do. There are some days that I'm not the best employee. I have not always been the best mom. There are days that I'm like, just order what you want. I'm going to bed. I don't vegetable, whatever. I don't care. You came home late. Whatever.
Right.
I am a person first. And I'm flawed. And some days I don't want to be bothered. It just is what it is. And those people, those members of it doesn't even have to be a sorority or fraternity. Any organization, you're just not always your best. Your priorities in life have shifted, have changed. And you know what? This is not on my list right now. So I don't really care. So I'm going to go and not be bothered. Or they've had a conflict with somebody and it's made them generalize the whole organization and taking it out on that and not that individual person and not having dealt with that. So yes, it's taught me conflict resolution as well.
So let's talk about something that I've seen from many of my friends who happen to be Black women. When they find their passion, when they find the place that they fit, a lot of times they give themselves to it to the extent where they don't reserve anything to themselves. They become super soror. Sound familiar? Because we're gonna talk about. See, we don't keep it 100% on this show. We keep it 85, but it's a tight 85. 15% they don't need to know about. 5% I'm trying to forgive myself. But we're gonna talk about that 85%. And part of it is you have. I know. I'm sorry. Let me from my perspective, what I have seen, because I'm gonna own this one. There have been times where you have become more of the roles that you serve in, especially the service-based roles, than you have the woman that you are. You have given yourself to Zeta. From what I've seen, there are times where it seems like it was all that you did. But managing the family and work part, but then it's Zeta, and then it's family work, Zeta, family work, Zeta, and hey, family and work, let's do Zeta stuff. Like, hey, let's do a Zeta thing at work. Hey, you mind if I or hey, Cohen, let's go here for Zeta. And so and by the way, I also want to let you know that I have noticed, at least it looks like in the last bunch of years, that you have been able to maintain a level of you without giving it all in. And I just want to know, how did you start establishing those boundaries so that you are not only the Zeta lady or majority Zeta lady? Or are you just doing better branding and I fell for it? What are we doing right now?
I don't know, because there are times where I felt like let me just back up. I felt like at one point I owed it to my sorors because I had a ugly divorce, and my son was very small at the time, and I felt trapped almost in that he was so small I couldn't go anywhere or do anything without him. If he wasn't in school or daycare or whatever, I had a kid with me 24/7. And it was like, what do I do? And my sorors and my frat brothers, they kind of saved my sanity at that point. AOL chat was real. It saved my life.
Mhm.
And it made me, and you may or may not remember this. I used to be real quiet. I used to be real shy. I used to be real reserved.
I remember. I'm sorry. Let's be clear. I remember that's how you used to show up until you got to know people.
Exactly.
Okay. Because again, 85. Okay.
And until I got to know people, but I was not the one who was, oh yeah, let's go out so we can go meet people. I'd be like,
no, I'm good. I mean, if we going, I mean, I guess I'll go.
I want to go meet.
What time are we coming? No, watch this. What time are we coming back though? If we're not going to be here all night again. I remember that conversation a couple times. We're not going to be here all night.
No, but that's how I got to meet so many people within the blue and white, outside of the blue and white. And it was a very one-on-one, which I thrive in small groups and one-on-ones. And so I could really genuinely get to know someone and talk to them. And, oh, okay, now I've talked to you a little bit, so I'll give you my phone number. And it saved my life. It saved my sanity for a very long time. And then it was bring that baby and let's go. Okay, you got the kid and have car seat. We'll travel. Let's go. It's okay. And I'm like, well, I got this person with me too. I got the niece, because my niece and my son are 6 years apart in age. So I'm sometimes toting 2 kids with me just because he doesn't want to be by himself. And I didn't want to constantly watch Nemo or whatever. So like, I need a buffer. I need somebody else. So I was like, I got to give back what was given to me. And I don't know if everybody even knew how much they gave to me during that time. And it was like, but this was the purpose of this anyway. Yes, helping the community, but we help each other. And they helped me. People who didn't even know me, like you said before, just by virtue of, I know what it takes to become a member of this organization and what membership means. And so they reached out and they helped me and they picked me up and were there for me. And I give that back. So that was kind of, and it helped me, not so much with boundaries, because I'm terrible at boundaries. I don't.
It looks better though. It looks better.
I don't always say no when I'm supposed to.
Well, okay, yeah, no, that's true.
But they allowed me to be okay with, like, no, stay home. They would tell me, stay home, or yes, bring the baby. We're good. And it wasn't always about, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to. Oh, you just need a minute. So another friend of mine, a friend of ours, we still talk about it to this day. We have to catch up. We would go to each other's houses every other week on Thursday. She would bring her kids up, or I would bring my son down to her house. We'd let them play with each other and hang out while we laid on the couch or on the floor or whatever with our wine and just commiserated about the foolishness that we were going through. And we saved each other. And sometimes, like, all of our kids are grown now. Like I said, this is someone that I know you know too.
Mm-hmm.
And we saved each other. And it's like, sometimes it's like, you just need to, you don't even need to talk about it. You just need someone to lean on.
And I think one of the things you've really helped illustrate about sorority life is that all of that new stuff, all of that getting to know you, it being part of an organization kind of helps you fast forward through that. It's kind of like being part of a family. Like,
Yeah.
I've gone to family reunions where it's like, hi, I'm your second cousin 3 states away. And I'm like, what's up, fam? Hey, how's it going? Okay, let's go hang out. And it's like, you didn't check their credentials. Like, how you know that they real family? But it's because they come and they represent that. And so all of that extra stuff moves out of the way a lot quickly, and you can develop those more trusting relationships faster.
Right.
But let's talk. But as we get ready to, we wrapping up. I'm looking at the time because I've been real conscious of the time, like because I don't want to get in a groove and it'd be like 12:30 in the afternoon, and everybody's like, yo, they still going. So I'm being respectful. Being respectful. But what do you do as you are navigating, not you, but if somebody else was navigating the outside of it, because there are certain limitations to becoming parts of some of our organizations, whether it's, college attendance. For some people, it is they don't know anybody to hook up with to get there, nominate them in. And for some of them, it may be financial. And so is there a way to develop those relationships with people in sororities without necessarily having to be in the sorority? I know it may not be the same, but or is it just going to be like if I show up to one of your things, y'all gonna be like, ew, are you going to, ew?
And that's where, as an individual, who you are shines. Because, okay, if you're not sure if sorority life is for you, you've asked all your questions, I've answered to the best of my ability, and I still don't know if this is for me, but I'd still like to hang out with you, Lillet, if that's cool. Absolutely. Sure. Come on. You can still come to our service project. You can still come to our dance, our party, our this or that, or we can just go hang out and feed the ducks or watch the kids ride bikes or whatever. We can still just be people together. But yes, we met on the strength of you had some curiosity and issue, you wanted to understand, and well, that's all well and good. I don't know if that's for me right now or whatever. That's fine too.
Okay.
There's a lady who she came, but we just hung out. We started going to the same nail salon and just like, when's your appointment? Okay, let's go. And we would hang out at the nail salon.
And there are, I know for us, and I know for you guys as well, there are a lot of guys who roll with us heavy enough that people don't realize that they're not frat. Like if you see us, you see them, and it's like, oh no, I'm not. It's like, oh wow. But the other thing that I have also seen in those situations, and I want to know if it's similar for you, is that even the people who are not part of the organization but get the love from the group, they still have a level of that engagement. Other people, you not frat, but you Will's man. Oh yeah, come on, I got you.
My old roommate, because Renee.
Oh okay, yeah. Oh yeah.
Because me, her, and my line sister, we all were roommates my senior year. I actually met Renee randomly, and we just remained friends. And then come to find out, she and my line sister were roommates. So then it was like, oh, okay, well, we need a third. Okay. And she hung out with us so much that everybody, even my ex-mother-in-law, thought that she was. She's like, well, isn't she your line sister? No, ma'am. She's not. But thanks. But it's funny because like she and I are still really good friends, and I'm her emergency contact. She tells people we're sisters, and I'm like, okay. So, but no, she's not a member of any other sorority. She was interested in another one, but it just never came to fruition, but she still hangs out with us all the time. So, yeah.
That's cool. You have been exceptionally enlightening today. Like, they got knowledges and stuff. That's crazy. I am so grateful to you as always, not just for being on the show today, but for the counting in decades, years of friendship, and also just being a dope ass Black woman. Yeah, I am grateful to have you as part of my life. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right, let's see.